And marriage is like this dance where you've got to have a leader leading, but he's not dragging her around the floor or stepping on her feet, but in a beautiful dance, leading her, but leading her by loving her.
Well, welcome everybody. Joining me today is a very special guest, Richard Sharp. He's a long-time missionary. I'm going to let him share how many years he's been in the mission field, but he's also the founder of a corporation called One Wish, a nonprofit that seeks to equip people to make friends and grow in relationship with God. But today in particular, Richard, after you maybe do a little bit more on that little intro, but we're also going to talk, I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about what you presented on February 21st.
Valentine's.
Yes, it was our just post-Valentine's
right.
special.
Great time. Yeah, I'm Richard Sharp. I'm from London, England. Married to an amazing gal, Rachel, that I met on our mission ship. I serve with a mission called Operation Mobilization. Actually, just this year is my 50th year in OM. Since the founder descended on my Bible college in London 50 years ago, messed up my life. And since then, been around the world to 100 nations.
Praise God.
Sharing the gospel. So great to be here.
When we got together on February 21st, you did a beautiful job of helping the people in the room really understand what deep love, agape-like love, in a marriage is like. Can you share a little bit about what you talked about that night?
Yeah. By the way, I was at a school in Vancouver, Canada, where the principal said, your wife's face is your CV. Now that's a British expression, your CV,
yes,
but your wife's
your
face
resume
is your profile for a man, which is an amazing thing.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, when a couple are dating, I tell them I look for two things. And I actually say on your wedding day, you're actually going to act them out in church, because the bridegroom is going to be there up front. The gal's going to come down the aisle, so they come in separate.
Right.
And then the pastor's going to have them face to face. So that's actually the first thing I'm looking for, the face-to-face. And that's the lover. And then they'll say their vows, and then he will say, I now pronounce you man and wife. And then he has them turn shoulder to shoulder, and shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, they walk down the aisle.
Right.
And those two things, the face-to-face and the shoulder-to-shoulder, is what I look for in a couple if it's going to be a successful marriage. Right. The shoulder-to-shoulder is the lover, that's the face-to-face is the lover, that's the romance side. The shoulder-to-shoulder is the helper side, that's going in the same direction in ministry. Right. And you've got to have both.
Right.
And it's interesting, when God looked for someone for Adam in the garden, did he look for a lover or a helper?
He looked for a helper.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now in the West, we're big on the lover, the romance. In the non-West, they're much bigger on the helper. And of course, the first marriage in the garden was an arranged marriage by God.
Right.
And so they were to be shoulder to shoulder, working in the fields there in the garden. And but of course, as soon as Adam sees Eve, he goes, Mamma Mia, and they become lovers. So it's both.
Right.
But you got to have both.
Right.
And
it's interesting that helper was first.
Helper was first.
Lover came second.
Because in the non-West, the idea is you grow into love. In the West, you fall in love and you hope you end up with the shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
They start with the shoulder to shoulder and then hope they grow into love.
Yeah.
But either way, you got to have both if it's going to work. And I think of meeting Rachel, 43 years ago on our mission ship, and it's worked because we had, I was crazy about her, still crazy about her. So we have that lover face to face, but we also have that shoulder to shoulder, moving in the same direction. Because if you're not, it means one of you is going to move ahead, without the other, or they get held back by someone, or they end up going two separate ways.
Right.
And we've seen
that too much.
Seen that too much.
Right.
So that's the key. And then The other thing I shared was from Ephesians 5, where Paul talks about the marriage.
Yes.
And in 12 verses from Ephesians 5:22 to 32, he talks about the husband and wife. And of course, most folks know the passage.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Here's the wife, here's the husband. Who does he speak to first? Speaks to the wife first.
Right.
Who does he speak to most? Husband.
I'm going to guess it's the man.
And when you check it out, he speaks 3 verses to the wife, and then he speaks 9 verses to the husband.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Right.
Why 9 verses to the husband, 3 to the wife?
Right.
Because if you say 3 times as much to one person as the other, it means what you've got to say to them, you could say is more important, or is certainly harder.
Right. Emphasized. Right.
It's certainly harder.
Right.
And to the wife, he says, he speaks of his position. He's the leader. And you're to submit to him. But to the husband, he doesn't speak about his position. He speaks about his function. And he speaks about him being the lover.
Right.
And if I see a man, and I've seen this, who's very big on his position, I'm the head of the home, I'm the leader, you got to do what I tell you to do.
Right.
I say to him, that's not Paul's message to you.
That's right.
That's to the wife. To you, it's your function, which is to be the lover. How you are the lover, you serve.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, I was in Cameroon just, 6-7 weeks ago, and I was discipling a team. There was 10 on the team, 2 singles, and there were 4 couples, which was unusual to have these 4 couples. But I spoke on this, and these 4 couples came from an area which was an Islamic area. Now, only one of the couples, the husband, was a Muslim background believer. But that would have influenced, that culture would have influenced them. And I spoke to them from this passage. And then I did something. I had the 5 wives stand up. And then I said to the 4 husbands, I now want you to kneel before your wife. Well, they're looking at me.
That's powerful.
What in the what? Because they think, if anything, it should be the other way around. It should be,
right.
The husband standing, the wife is kneeling and serving. But I said, in that passage it says, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Well, how did he love the church? Here he came and he served the disciples. He actually knelt.
Yes.
And it's interesting, John the Baptist said, I'm not worthy to untie his sandals.
Right.
That was the role of the second lowest slave. The lowest slave washed the feet.
Wow.
And so I had the husbands kneel at their wives' feet, and you're going to serve your wife. And then, I've never done this before, I said to the men, I want you now to go flat on your face with your arms outstretched on the ground in the shape of a cross, because it says that Jesus, you're to love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. So he served her in life and then laid down his life for the church.
Yes.
And I said, you need to love your wife in such a way like Christ. No wonder he spoke 3 times as much to the husband as to the wife.
Right.
Serve her and be ready to lay down your life for her. Yes. And I had these 4 men flat on their face, arms outstretched on the ground, and it wasn't nice carpets or floors. It was a dirt floor in Cameroon, Central Africa. Well, then suddenly one of the wives starts bellowing. I mean, just sobbing, with a husband prostrate, flat out on his face on the ground. And all that emotion coming out. I mean, I just knew in this week of discipling, I had 20 sessions with them. I knew this was the moment.
Yeah.
I look for a moment in a week. This is God's moment. This is what this week is for. And I just let this scene happen, just men flat on their faces. And there was one more session before lunch, and I said, I'm going to cancel that session. I want you 4 wives and husbands to go off and spend an hour together, just alone, the 2 of you together in 4 different places. And I actually said to the wives, you go off, and I want you husbands to get something for them to each to drink and to eat, and go serve her. Now they're looking at me. They may have never experienced that. It would be them going off and their wives getting something for them and going to serve them. Right. And then I said, I want you to sit together, and I want to sit face to face, and then I want you husbands to listen to your wives.
Right.
Because one of the things that had come up, all 4 wives says, my husband does not listen to me. Now, my honey would say, hey, there are times, honey, you know, honey, you're not listening to me. I'd say,
mine too.
You know,
Yeah.
and I said, I want you just to listen to your wives first. It was interesting, at supper time came, the wives were sitting there, and then the husbands brought a meal out for them. Well, I hadn't said anything about that, and I thought, whoa, maybe the penny's dropping here.
Wow.
Maybe they're getting something here, and maybe
Wow.
this is going to be something that's going to transform
Right.
their marriages.
Praise God.
And I talked to the wives, I said, will you have a problem with his position as the leader, you submitting to him, if here he is at your feet and serving and ready to lay down his life? And they looked at me and said, no. You see, and marriage is like this dance where you've got to have a leader leading, but he's not dragging her around the floor or stepping on her feet, but in a beautiful dance, leading her, but leading her by loving her.
So good.
And that's the key to marriage.
So good.
Yep.
Thank you, brother. So I think what we'll do for now is we're going to wrap this up, and I'm just so grateful that you were able to spend a little time with us today. We're going to put a couple of links in this video and in the YouTube page. We ask that you subscribe and like and share and visit Richard's website at One Wish for You. So thank you again for the time today.
Great.
I really appreciate it.
Bless you.
Bless you.